Hey everybody, I'm Captain Max Fay.
And I'm first mate Anthony Weber,
Welcome to our very first Dark Side of the Moon podcast.
a weekly podcast where we discuss everything One Piece TCG.
This week, we have a very special guest with us, Orange Samurai D.
Hey guys, what's up? Thank you for having me.
For sure. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Orange?
So my name again is Orange Samurai D, and I started doing YouTube stuff a long time ago when I was in high school, but the perfect thing happened. One Piece and TCGs, because I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon for many years back in the 2000s. So I started posting about it, and things just started clicking. I was having a lot of fun, getting to meet a lot of people in the community. So I just started doing TikToks, Facebook posts, all this other social media stuff. So I'm having a great time with that right now, and I'm getting to meet cool guys like you guys.
Oh, thank you so much,
Appreciate
man.
you, man. You're the best.
You mentioned
Yeah, we-
Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. What other card games have you played in the past?
Just mostly those two, Yu-Gi-Oh! Early 2000s, all the way up to the Shadow format, I would say.
That's right,
and
when I
from
quit, too.
Pokemon, I played from the beginning of X and Y up to the end of the X and Y format, like around when they announced whatever came out after X and Y, Sun and Moon. Yeah, so
Yeah.
around that time.
Nice. So what was your first card game?
Just Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, the traditional Yu-Gi and Kaiba starter decks that I
Yeah.
would see at a JCPenney or Sears.
Was that your first competitive card game, or what would you say was your first competitive card game?
Yeah, that was it. So I'll make my deck, but I started playing competitively back when Gladiator Beast came about because I discovered the website Pojo, and I'm like, hey, what's a really, really annoying deck to play against? And unanimously it told me this deck called Gladiator Beast. So I looked it up, like, oh, it's Roman gladiators. That's awesome. I like the mythology of it. I love,
Gladiator
like,
Beasts
you know,
are really cool, yeah.
it was a fun thing, and I live in Florida, so I got to meet a lot of cool people that played that deck competitively, and they were like known for it.
Oh.
So
That's
that's what I
nice.
played, and literally I just played that every single event, and that's what I was known for, like, you know, around my friends in Florida.
Nice. So moving on to One Piece, how long have you been playing the One Piece trading card game?
Playing it actively probably since the starter decks came out in Japan, because I did manage to get an order on Amazon for the special 4-pack with the cardboard box.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, because I'm more of a hands-on person, so I need to have it in my hand to actually let to know. Even if I have to use the One Piece card deck, printouts or use my phone, I will feel much better about it rather than playing on tabletop or on tab. Because I tried playing on tab, I could not grasp it.
The
But the
first
sim,
day...
sim is good though.
Oh, I love the sim. Batsu makes some
Sim
great
is
stuff.
great. Batu is actually like such a good guy.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah, he's always on top of it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's so on top of it.
And he's
The
so nice.
Program's so nice.
Yeah.
Very
Anthony and
well.
I were there with him the first day. He actually introduced the sim to anybody. We were
Oh,
all
really?
in a Discord call in one of the One Piece Discords, and he just kind of popped in and was like, "Hey guys, I've been working on this thing. Does anyone want to test it out?" And me and one
Ooh.
other guy, we were the first people to ever play the sim when it was just starter deck Luffy, and we did a starter deck Luffy here and saw the early bugs.
Yeah.
But, oh, it works so well now. It's come so far.
It's so nice.
Yeah, definitely. Even then, all my friends, I used to tell them, use that app to play test, use that app. It's free, super accessible, unless you have an iPhone. But yeah, it's a lot of people, they don't want to go through that paywall of Tabletop Simulator, and some just
Yeah.
find on top to complicate it. So that's like, I think, a perfect medium.
It really is.
And
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really nice.
So, Orange, what was the first One Piece deck you played?
the first One Piece deck I played was blue, because I like the premise of control decks, hence why I played like Gladiator Beast and other decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Six Samurai, Dino Lagia. So I felt like, oh, that'd be a cool thing to play. So
That's really sweet.
I picked up the blue deck, but I wanted to only get a hold of like starter deck format, because while all of you guys were going ham playing OP01 and whatnot, I just wanted to play starters because I wanted to prepare for Super Pre-release.
Ah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
A
So
lot of people were like going through. At the
yeah,
time.
I didn't want to get ahead of myself for things I'm not going to touch for a long time.
Yeah.
And I do not have any Bandai TCG experience, so I just got trashed. Because all my friends, they've all played DBS and Digimon, and the
Gotcha.
top regionals. But yeah, after that, I just started going. I played all the decks, but I seem to like the way green plays the most with his combos now.
Nice.
Oh.
So what was the first deck that you consider that would be your main deck?
I think yeah, green, like with Kid, after I started playing around like 5 or so games, I'm feeling like there's a lot of fluidity to the way that the deck plays with the combos, the ability to based on Hawkins, his double attack, the search that Bonnie has. It's off the box the most consistent starter deck. Because for
Very
like
true.
Luffy, you have to have the Nami from OP01. You get it on the booster set.
Yep.
You get a searcher in film purple, and that's later on and so on. So yeah, I felt like green was a pretty good medical to play.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Green is definitely the most consistent straight out of the starter.
Oh yeah, there's no competition. In terms of just a standalone, absolutely, green's so good. For sure.
So, given every card that you know of so far, what is your favorite One Piece card and why?
It's gonna be like a cop-out answer, but I would just say it's the leader Kid, because it's like
Nice.
you go boom, you set your entire Dawn deck into him, you attack, or you just give him 7, right?
Yeah.
So you give him 7, you attack, you rest 3, discard card, attack again, and like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
For a lot of
game
games,
over.
it's
Simple
game
and
ending. You
elegant.
give them all, you're done.
Yep.
But for
Yep.
Kid, you can just do it twice.
Yeah, such a powerful combo. So disgusting. So I know we all love the One Piece trading card game. So I think we'll just talk about the anime and manga for a bit. Are you actually caught up in the One Piece anime at all? Or
Anime, I've been trying to watch it with my wife. So right now I'm currently in the Katakuri fight. Like
like,
after he made the House of Candy and started eating donuts,
Mm.
that's where I'm at in the anime. But I've been watching the anime since like Skypiea back in the 2000s, and manga-wise, I am caught up.
nice.
Very cool. So you're caught up in the manga. You know everything that's going on right now. You
Yeah.
have all the info. Who is your favorite One Piece character and why?
Enaru.
Oh,
He
really?
is literally, he is
Nice.
Wagami. I'm a very big like mythology and ancient culture kind of person. Like the lore of Skypiea, El Dorado, Incan, Mayan, Aztec culture, and that was like technically the first arc that I saw via Kaisuko fan subs back in the 2000s. And yeah, the whole thing with the island going in the sky, the bell, Nolan and Calgara, that whole thing just immediately hooked me. And then the idea that there's a godlike character in this series, like, oh, and he looks like Eminem too. So
Right. So what's your favorite arc in One Piece? I assume it's Skypiea then, right?
yeah, it is actually Skypiea. Just like
Yeah.
some popular, but also for Hunter x Hunter minus Greed Island, which a lot of people didn't like either, because it's like very to its own story.
Right. That's a great show too. Gotta say, Hunter.
Oh, I love Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, I can't wait for the manga to come back.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. Well, then, we've gotten some icebreaker questions out of the way. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We're here to talk about Set 2 primarily. You've been covering all of the reveals along the way, so you've got
You're
a
so
pretty
on
good
top of
grasp.
it.
Yeah, you're extremely on top of it. So I think it'd be good to go through each of the colors, talk about the leaders and the themes that we're getting out of them, and just kind of get what you're feeling out of them. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
All right, so I think a great place to start is with everyone's favorite, which is Whitebeard, the Edward Newgate leader.
Such a cool leader.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Newgate leader?
I think it's a start on the deviation of how to have different stats for the leaders, because a lot of people always assume like, oh, we're gonna have way different stats down the line, and this is the first one of its kind. Well, no, dual leaders were the first of its kind, but on like a negative side, now this guy's beefier, has more life, but at the cost of his like at the end of turn effect.
Yeah.
End of turn, yeah.
Right. That's
So
So
awesome.
it's very fitting of Whitebeard.
Yeah, I think so too. It's super in flavor.
Yeah, and I also like how we're taking that life every single turn. It kind of just reminds me a lot. It's calling back to that flavor where he's like slowly willing down over time.
Yeah.
And like, I love that. I think it's so great.
How strong do you think he's gonna be?
It's gonna be a deck people want to play to mess around probably, but down the line somebody will find a niche and actually top with it, I would say.
So
Maybe
you
not
think
at the
it's gonna
beginning,
take
but
some figuring out, some solving, but then once
Yeah.
somebody solves it, you think it'll be pretty solid.
Yeah, I think it's one of those decks that somebody has to figure out how to play them right,
Yeah.
and maybe like the top percentile will get the gist of it and win with it, but not necessarily for everybody. I don't think it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
So out of red, we've seen a lot of Whitebeard support so far, but we've also seen the Curly Dodon card, which is really nifty. We can see a lot of play already in our red-green variant decks with Law. I mean, I think it's an absolute amazing card in Law.
Yeah, it's super good in Law. Oh my god. Look at top. You're talking about the Don, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking at top 5 for was it 1 or less?
Yeah, up to 1 red character with the cost of 1 or less.
Yeah.
Not that we have
Crazy.
anything that costs less at the moment.
Yeah, of course.
Do you think with the introduction of Curly Dodon, maybe we'll see more cards from Luffy's hometown and maybe more cards of Luffy, Ace, Sabo as kids, something along those lines? Or
Yeah, I think that's very likely because even the art shows you Kid Ace in the back,
Yes,
and
it
it's
does.
the Mountain Bandit archetype.
yeah,
So I think she's not meant to be a searcher for prior cards that were made, but rather cards that are gonna be made, like the Kid protagonist, maybe.
yeah, I definitely would be really interested. I've been saying it for a little while now. In 1-cost cards that are Luffy, Ace, and Sabo, all 3 of them as children with different effects.
Right.
I think that would be a
Sure.
nice thing.
Yeah.
What are your overall thoughts of like we have support for Whitebeard cards in the form of Squard, Vista, Marco? What are your overall impressions as of right now of the support?
I'm not too crazy about it in the sense that they're like, I don't know, it sounds wonky to me with like Squad. It's like you get this little bonus, but at the same time you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
Vista's solid. Vista, he's an A+, he's solid. That's
Yeah.
KO, easy peasy, that's good. Marco's really good too, but I'm just trying to figure out if they're gonna have more. No, I still have Whitey Bay to reveal, so we
Yeah.
gotta see her effect.
And we're almost
But what I-
definitively going to
yeah.
see more after that as well. I mean, we're
Yeah.
going to get a Jozu, we're going to get an Ace at bare minimum.
Boris Jr., everybody
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, it's
Oh,
so much potential with this franchise.
Yeah, a lot to draw from. So
What
I will be
Whitebeard pirate are
surprised.
you looking forward to getting a card the most?
Person wise, no, I think I've already had my favorite with Vista because he's like a cool
Oh.
character I like from the thing. Yeah, so I
Okay,
think
cool.
that's,
Yeah, I like Vista. I'm into that.
yeah, I like
for
Vista.
sure.
So,
It's very respectable.
but I would hope really that we do get like maybe a Moby Dick stage.
Oh, that'd be really cool. Like how we got the
That'd
Sunny.
be so sick.
Yeah, but then again, that's also giving all the stages to purple, black, and red,
Yeah.
not
That's
for
very
green or
true.
blue.
We haven't seen very many stages in the
We
game
might
as
see an
of
Impel
yet.
down, so maybe I don't know.
I'd like to think we're gonna see an Impel down and New Kama Land. That's
Yeah,
kind of my hope at the moment.
I feel like One Piece, as of right now, in terms of their stages, that's the least they have like expanded on so far, and I'm really excited to see where they go.
Me too, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we've talked about red plenty. Would you like to talk about green? So we've got the Kinemon leader here. What do you think of this Kinemon leader?
Actually, I haven't seen too much on green besides the kit archetype ones. But Odin, just to recap real quick, Odin, what did Odin do?
So Odin
So-
was once per turn during your turn, you could discard a card with the Wano
Alright.
country type. It did not have to be character. It was Wano country type card.
Yeah.
And then you switch 2 of your Rested Dawn to active.
Okay, so that's your defensive there. Yeah, this one, from what I saw, is a lot of conversation regarding Kinemon because it gives you the opportunity to have bigger cost characters earlier in your turns.
Yeah.
So that's a really advantageous thing to have. So that was nice. But yeah, I think Kinemon itself might be the go-to leader for the green Wano samurai type. I think.
Oh, interesting.
So you think Kinemon's going to beat out the old Odin leader?
I think so. Hopefully, the Odin character card gives Odin justice, so you don't feel bad about leaving him behind.
Yep.
And the Toki connectivity also, you don't want to just have one target with Yamato. So
Yeah, absolutely.
hopefully the character is good.
The Toki is relatively disappointing, I feel, because we've seen so many. We're flooded with 1-drop blockers. So to see a 1-drop that, even in green already. So, I mean, yes, she has a counter stat, but to see a card that really. I wish it just had blocker instead of being a conditional blocker.
Yeah, the conditional thing for a 4 of target right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially because it's searchable off of Momonosuke,
Momo.
the one drop from set one.
Yep.
Yeah.
It would have been really nice to have a blocker to get search off of Momo because we don't have one as of right at set one, and this is the only thing we can get now until at least next set, which I, God, hope there's no more Wano. Like we can get Wano a break.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm really like disappointed that it wasn't like it's like additional blocker versus a natural blocker.
Yeah.
In my opinion at least.
Me too.
Yeah, I think I should have just made it any Kosuki Oden, and it would have been way better. But limiting it to character makes it more situational, so I don't think it'll get much play.
I think the
unfortunately.
fear of making it any Kozuki Oden is I'm already personally scared to not play Kinemon at all because my favorite card in my Wano decks, and I play Wano a lot. Green Wano is one of my main decks. Is the 6-drop Kinemon from set 1, which to use properly requires a Kozuki Oden leader. And I think that that's one of my biggest disappointments from Green in set 2 is we're seeing this new Kinemon leader that looks interesting and maybe you want to use it, but it clashes with some of the best Wano support we already have.
Yeah, but there's always something to be said about having turn 2 Yamato. Like that's sweet.
If you go
Yeah, I think
second.
it's gonna be conflicting things down the line as the game progresses.
Yeah.
Like we already have former Baroque works not working with Baroque works
Yeah.
too, so
Which is really awkward.
Super lame. Speaking of, that's a good transition to Blue if you want to talk about
Well,
that
I
a
think
little bit.
before we leave Blue, we also should mention the film Straw Hat Crew characters.
That's
Oh.
true.
Because
we did
those
just get
are
Brooke.
those
They've
are
been
in
dope.
green. We just got Brooke. So we've got
Yeah.
Brooke, which can play Robin, and then Robin, which can play something else. Let me ask you this, Orange. To me, right now, we have no actually adequate leader to put these green cards in. Now, I mean, you can slot them into our current red-green leaders, but do you think we might be getting more leaders in set 2 that these cards would work well with, or do you think we're done with our 8 set 2 leaders?
I think the ratios were already revealed, so I think what we see now is what we got. I think it's supposed to be the 8.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
That's
So-
important. I didn't.
Yeah, I
see
think
that.
that's what we have. Yeah, because I from what I recall, it was like literally a 1-by-1 replica of set 1 with like ratios of SRs, secret rares, leaders, and stuff like that. But I think so far we're gonna have to make do with what we have with the red-green leaders, or just a green leader in general. But I think just because of the affiliation, people will probably play Sanji or just Law.
Yeah, Sanji is also a
Yeah.
very good way to use the new Straw Hats, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think there aren't any blue or green vanilla straw hats as of right now to activate Sanji's effect.
That's true.
And we'll
there are
get to
not.
that. And I actually double checked this morning just to make sure. It's very
Yeah,
disappointing to see that. But
Yeah, it has to be the other kinds,
Yeah.
yeah,
non-straw
it's-
hats.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But what are you gonna do?
I imagine they're going to release some film vanilla Straw Hats to match with the Sanji that's coming out. Otherwise, the film cards don't make a lot of sense.
That's true.
But then it's
Yeah, I
also
think
a
they might
little
have
odd.
vanillas.
It's a little odd to me. If I were going to do something along those lines, I'd have made the Sanji leader a film Sanji instead of just making it Straw Hat Crew.
Yeah. I mean, at that
Mm.
point, if they're intending to have these film cards mesh specifically in Sanji,
Yeah.
then it's very awkward to have him not like have the entire archetype be
Be a
something
film
that he
leader.
isn't.
Yeah.
Like said,
And gosh, at this point, we've talked about Sanji so much, she's going to be up on the screen for the people watching. Why don't we go over your thoughts about this new Sanji
All right,
leader?
we'll just skip blue
We'll
altogether.
skip Blue altogether for now. We'll come back to Baby Blue. So what are your thoughts on the Sanji leader, Orange?
let me review him real quick.
No
Once per
worries.
turn, when you play a character without an effect in your hand, if you have 3 or less characters in play, set up 2 of your Dawn to active. So, I mean, the way I see it is, you want to establish like your board, and this way you can have defensive opportunities with your Dawn when you're on your turn.
Mhm.
It seems pretty straightforward. Personally, I wouldn't play it at the value that he gives compared to like the other Law or a mono green.
Mhm.
But the fact that he's Straw Hat makes it more I don't know.
appealing.
Yeah,
He
more-
looks fine to me, but he's not OP01 King at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not
yeah, that
OP01
card.
King. That's a fact.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw my shameless plug for the Sanji deck that I've been messing around with. Where, if you're playing a 1-drop vanilla, you can untap 2. So if you guys ever played Dragon Ball, it acts like a sort of a senzu bean. At least if you're anyone watching play Dragon Ball, and I think that's really funny because the deck I'm messing around with is like playing your 1-drop vanillas, untapping like an energy or sorry a Dawn, and then playing Be My Samurai and tap your dumb vanillas down and draw 2 cards and just get incredible value.
It gets a lot of value out.
Oh, I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Get the 2
Yeah.
energy and switch to active mode.
So you're here to hear first. Buggy Tribal.
Oh my
One-
god, this man and his buggy tribal.
I will literally plug that deck in every single time shamelessly, and I would not care.
And we're gonna get more support for it, so it'll only get better as we move along.
I'd imagine.
Speaking of things that hopefully get better as we move along, let's move on to blue like we were supposed to.
Yep, finally.
So, Orange, this Ivankov leader, what are your thoughts on this guy?
Feel like I'm playing Infernities. Just you play no hand, you draw hands at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people compare it to Infinity.
It's just like Infernity.
Yeah.
Do you think 2 cards is enough draw to warrant going to 0 at the end of your turn?
So far it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 impel down blue cards, and they all drop things out of your hand
Yes.
for absolutely free.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking there has to be something else that makes it like if you have no hand, you're gonna get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
So maybe an Ivankov character itself, or what's her name, Inazuma, or
Inazuma, yep.
yeah, this is yeah.
Yeah.
There has to be something else besides just drawing 2, I would think.
Yeah, that's what, like, when we were talking about previous in the past with a bunch of other people about this leader and their impressions, I'm definitely in the mindset that, like, there's going to be something, like, really big payoffs for this leader, because 2 is just so little. Like, you're getting
Yeah,
nothing
things
out
that
of
we
it.
haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I'm hoping by the time, like, set 2 is released, we'll have more cards. That's like, oh, maybe like a stage or something that makes you draw your 3rd card, and now it just feels good to play Ivankov, or something relevant like that, in my opinion. Like, hopefully, but as of right now, it's like, like only 2 cards.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a stage card for them, but then again, it's
The
like
new
there's
Kama
2
Land
impel
stage,
downs,
yeah.
so who will be getting the stage card? The purple, like the Wardens, or the Escapees?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
in my head, I could give the Magellan, the Wardens, the Impel Down stage, and we can give the Revolutionary Army, the blue Impel Down. They can get that level 5.5.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking it. Yeah.
That would be my hope.
Yeah.
And then if they give it a stage, that stage will likely be able to be searched off of the 1-drop buggy, which would be
Mhm.
really sweet.
I love that card.
Impel down time card. Yep,
Yep.
that's definitely a
really
thing.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about the buggy. I like the buggy, but I hate that it says blue. I really wish it just said Impel Down
Yes.
type card, because I feel like we had a really good chance for blue purple Kaido and blue purple Crocodile to come out of the woodwork with some really creative decks because of these new Impel Down mash, like between these 2 colors.
Hmm.
And the buggy only being able to search for blue instead of being able to search for both, I honestly feel like just shut that down. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
the entire concept is gone.
Yeah, I mean, at least the potential for that concept is completely destroyed. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way. There's no way. I mean, the only thing is, if it wasn't specifically blue, I'm like, how broken would it actually
That
be?
there is definitely a
Yeah.
concern, especially with the purple stuff. When we get to the purple stuff, we've seen some really insane purple stuff out of this set. So,
I think they're just pacing themselves with
Yeah.
how cards play.
and that's honestly better, because we'd rather them be extra cautious and extra balanced than have Dragon Ball syndrome and just break their game in
Yeah,
set 3.
because nobody expected the dual colors on the first set.
Yeah.
No one did.
Nobody expected them, so
But it worked
I think
out
they're
pretty
doing
well.
okay. Yeah.
I want to talk about the 6-drop Luffy for a moment. The blue 6-drop Luffy I really like this card
Yeah, it's
a
really
lot.
sweet.
What are your thoughts on it, Orange?
So you're minusing a lot from this card because
Yeah.
it's on play. When attacking, you may trash 2 cards from your hand, return 1 cost for a lower to the owner's hand, gains double attack. So somebody brought up to my attention the whole double attack thing. you don't really get to use that on the on play
Oh,
because
of course not. Yeah.
he doesn't have rush. But the whole point of him is to dump the cards off your hand.
Yeah.
So it's giving you double the opportunity to do so. And I think I want to see if they also make the ace in the background like a follow up to this card maybe,
That'd be
because
really
we're already
cool.
getting cards kind of revealing each other, like the Don with Kid Ace, and now this Luffy with Ace in the background too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's alluding to an Ace card with any sword, or they're gonna leave it as it is
It would be
and make
really
Ace
cool.
its own different card.
It'd be really cool to get an ace card that is the same art, just the other side around with Luffy in the background.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they had the post on the manga panel.
Yeah.
Slightly
exactly.
different, but yeah.
I heard when this card dropped, a lot of people were very confident that we like, okay, now it's like, there's no way we're not getting this because of having this exact art.
Yeah.
Of course, Bandai is gonna do what Bandai does, and who knows if we'll actually get it.
I have to
But-
imagine we're getting ace. I have
Yeah,
to hope.
I can't imagine. Like the entire arc
It's
of this
about
set
ace.
out Ace,
Yeah.
and they just don't get Ace, but we get Whitebeard. Like what? Like, can you imagine?
So something I really like about this blue Luffy is its potential in mono blue crocodile, because mono blue crocodile
I mean,
has this.
blue purple crocodile.
No,
Oh, you're talking
I'm
you're
talking
blue
about.
crocodile.
It
The
also
bounce
has a
one.
lot of potential in blue purple, but right now I'm
Yeah.
talking about specifically mono blue, because mono blue crocodile's main win condition is to establish a really dominant board, and then play either Sables or Teach to bounce a blocker, and then use leader effect to bounce another blocker, and then go for game. And this
Yep.
card fits into that puzzle in two different ways. Number one, it is a bounce effect. So you could pay 6 for this, bounce a card, and then Dawn -4 bounce a card and go for game. Or even better, if you already have this card on board, you can pay 4 for a Sables, bounce a card, Dawn -4 bounce a card, and then swing with this, bounce a potentially third blocker, and have a double attack swing on your board. So I feel like in the theme of the mono blue crocodile decks, I would love to slot a few of these in there.
Yeah.
Because it fits with your game ending plan so efficiently. And right now, one of blue's biggest problems is, unlike most other colors, it lacks consistent ways to end a game.
Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I agree, especially because it's so easy for that kind of scenario to pop up because Luffy doesn't require, like, he's not Dawn ×1 effect, he's not
Yeah.
like anything like that.
He just does
And
it.
he just does it in his stats. He's a 6-drop 7K. Like, that's a great.
Yeah, he's
stat
pretty
line.
big.
That's awesome,
Mhm.
and it's not gonna be easy to remove him either. So
Also, now's a
I'm-
really good
I really
time
like it.
to point out that anytime a card effect has a cost on an on play, it is optional, not mandatory.
yes, that is a
So,
really good.
if you want to play this Luffy so that you can start to set up board, you're not required to dump the 2.
Yeah.
On plays are only mandatory if they don't have costs.
Yep.
Um,
It's also a you may. So you
yes,
may
this
to-
one does specify
Yeah.
you may.
Yeah, so at least it also has that.
Yeah, I think
you
moving
know.
forward, they're all going to say you may. I think
I-
that they only specified that ruling for the cards that already exist.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Guys or
so
players don't know
yes.
on the cuff, so I like that they're doing that.
Mr. 2. Now, this card has a beautiful counter stat, and it can be searched off of Buggy. But this card's effect is abysmally bad. At least to me. Orange, do you think that there is an actual reason or use to play this card as an attacker and use its effect instead of just reserving it for its counter stat?
It's only a 1,000 counter from what I'm seeing, right?
It's
So
a 2,000 counter.
2000.
Oh, then One Piece card dev is don't goof on this one then.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
on mine it says
1,000 on
two.
it. Shoot. Yeah, if it's 2,000, so it's probably gonna be one of those cards where like the original intention is to play the effect, but they're gonna play for the counter, like ulti. They don't from the starter deck. They don't play page 1 that often. They just play the ulti for
It's
the
more
2K
often
counter.
for the 2K counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think if this card had a 1K counter, it would still get used, this Mr. 2?
I mean, it's a 1,000 blocker, so.
Oh, I think you're
It
looking at
might-
Mr. 3.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what it is.
shoot.
Uh,
That's it. It's like this
Yeah.
definitely has a 2K counter on it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going. Yeah, okay, so I'm looking back at that right now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Dawn, attack, trash, card from your hand, return. Yeah, I think it's gonna be an OT situation because, dang, you gotta commit 3 Dawn to this thing. Wow.
Yeah, this card, I really hate this card. And then it
Owner's
goes to the
deck,
bottom of
Me
its
too.
its
and
own deck. Like,
it's a really
Yeah.
situational card, and I think people are gonna play it because it's a 5k beater, and it's a 2k counter,
yep.
and that's the priority with the actual effect being at the bottom.
Right.
Mr. 3 is a card I actually really like.
Me too. Not necessarily in even cod, even though I know it's definitely.
I
meant
like
for
it in even call, but I really like it, and
Um,
I know you're about to say blue purple croc, right?
I was gonna say just in general, but
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Blue Rock is just in general. I like this card in terms of like a general staple. Not the saying it will be a staple, but I actually really like this card just because it's attacker that can be a blocker and it's very consistent that way. Personally, and even in Blue Purple Croc, it's even better in my opinion because it gives you that threshold of 4 cards, and I really enjoy this Mister 3.
Yeah.
So I'm about to hear your guys' thoughts on this card too.
No,
I'm
I like
fully
him
there
too.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this card is absolutely great.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I really like about this card is it's very simple and yet very unique. I feel like we're getting a lot of cards out of this set that are not overly complicated, but are still bringing a lot of freshness to the game without actually changing anything that exists. Like it's not that hard to come up with this effect, and yet its very existence adds so much layer and so much depth to the game that we didn't already have.
Right. Yeah, no, I really enjoy this card.
Mhm.
So I would
Same.
definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts on Gum Gum Rain, because
Hey.
God, I hate
Orange,
this
what
card.
do you think of Gum Gum Rain?
Oh, it sets a precedent that we can have a 0 cost anything now. So
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that it does set a really nice precedent.
that's a first of its kind. Counter trash 1 card from your hand, plus 3,000, and the trigger is return cost 2 or less to the owner's hand. Yeah, it's a pretty good card. It's free, so you only trash the 1 card, and trashing the 1 card is accomplishing the thematic of the Bank of Leaders. So
See,
Yeah.
I my problems with this card lie in Ivankov, where if you're running it in Ivankov to get you to 0 cards in hand, it's really good. But if you then draw it afterwards, it's 1 of 2 cards. You could discard the other to get 3,000 counter power, sure, but now you have no cards in hand all of a sudden.
Yeah, I like the idea that this card can get rid of dead cards in terms of an even cog reducing your hand down and all that stuff too. But then I agree with you 100% Max, where like if you're having those 2 cards, having this in your hand essentially becomes dead because now you have to get rid of your other card to even do anything with it. And that's just not feel great.
Yeah.
Like that's just.
I can see
I,
the logic in some of the older blue decks. Like I can understand in Blue Purple Croc. I can
Yeah, I can see
understand
that.
in Mono Blue Crocodile too, honestly, because you run a lot of dead cards. So just the extra counter power could be what saves you. But
Yep.
overall, I'm not too crazy about the card, especially in Even Call, because I really don't like the concept of drawing it after you've gone to 0.
I honestly would love if we do, like we were talking about even call, get that 3rd card or whatever, somewhere to make it really worth it. I actually can see this card being way better.
Yeah, a way to draw a 3rd card. Like if the stage said if you would draw off an Even Call ability, draw 1 more card, everything is different.
Yep, I agree.
So I think we're gonna get a few more cards. Like I don't know, we have like many columns, 3-4 columns of this thing already, but we should be getting at least the character Ivankov, the Inazuma.
We're definitely gonna get.
They showed a
Ivankov
crocodile
and
too, I
Inazuma.
think, right? So
We're almost definitely gonna get a crocodile and a Mr. 1.
yeah,
at
so
bare
that's
minimum.
more
So
opportunities
we
to
do
see.
still have more stuff on the way. Yes.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
we're getting an idea, but there has to be something that's gonna work by having no hand, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's a big disclaimer too. With a lot like for our viewers, this did come like we were reviewing the spoilers up to
Today is
14th?
October 14th. Yes.
14.
yeah, so we still have a lot more to look at. So
The
this is
most
just very
recent spoiler
early.
was the 4-drop Green Brook. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because the set list should drop the week of the release, like OP01 did. Like, are you guys Eastern time?
yes.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so like our 5 a.m. Eastern time, boom, the whole set dropped on
Yep.
the website. So,
Yeah, that was so cool.
I did not expect that. Yeah.
Me either. I was so excited that day. I made 22 shorts in a single day.
That was a long day.
Yeah. So that finishes off blue for us. Let's talk purple. What are your thoughts on the Magellan leader, Orange?
I hate it. The
Oh.
leader. No. I hate the character.
Okay. Well, we'll get there.
Wow.
We'll get there in a second. What are your thoughts on the leader?
The leader's fine. Like, so far there hasn't been anything crazy to do with effects.
Mhm.
Like, he's only a once 1,000, so
Yeah.
it just makes him strong. You know, it's not a crocodile bounce effect. It's not a Doflamingo leader effect.
Yeah.
It's an option to have if you want to have like a more aggressive leader, I guess.
See, that's kind of
But-
what I'm thinking based on what we've seen. Is I think we're gonna get a more aggressive style of play for purple that uses Dawn minus effects more often and then gets you to 6K more frequently.
See,
And then we
yeah,
have the
I really
wardens
like
too.
it. I think this leader is definitely decent, especially because it gives you that 6K threshold, and then that against Whitebeard, which may
The
or may
better
not be positive.
Whitebeard is, the better Magellan is.
Right. My only complaint in terms of this leader specifically is none of the which we'll talk about soon. Not a lot of the support, if any of the support as of right now,
Helps it.
required helps it or requires an impel down specific leader. So it's like, why play Magellan
When you can play
Kaido or Z or like any other, or even not even King. I
No,
almost
definitely
said
not even King.
not even King. I almost exaggerated, but but why play Magellan when you have all these better leaders? Because nothing required, like they're not impelled down specific. So now it's like, why even bother with Magellan? That's my only complaint.
Yeah, I can get with that.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about the Jailer Bee stuff, but you've mentioned the Magellan character now. Why do you hate the Magellan character?
It's a complete another nuisance to get out of your board, and then when you do, it's still gonna hurt you.
So you think it's
So if you
think it's a good card, but you're
It
you're
is, yeah,
upset that
it's
it's in
just-
the
Oh,
game.
okay.
It's disgusting.
Oh, okay. I got the impression you like thought it was bad, and I was like, whoa.
Oh no,
hot
this
take.
card, no.
Yeah,
It's
this
bad
card
to play
seems
against.
disgusting.
Yeah,
this
it's very
card
bad to
seems
play against.
disgusting.
I think it's going to be very meta defining. And I think my biggest problem with this character, I actually don't mind like Dawn Destruction, Land Destruction, like that theme of play. I don't mind it at all personally. I can understand people that do. My biggest problem with the Magellan card is that it does not require an impel down leader. That's the big thing that I think that they screwed up here. Because like you were just saying, Anthony, it's like, why not run Kaido? Well, now all of a sudden you can run this Magellan in a Kaido deck. And that's stupid, where you're constantly at 10 Dawn, and then you board wipe and end up at 10 Dawn anyway, right? And then you keep your opponent low. And I think the board wipe is the biggest reason that this card's secondary effect says opponent's turn. Because could you imagine getting like 3 of these on board, swinging with them all,
Yeah.
and then board wiping, and you just win the game right there?
I'm sorry, that's really funny.
Yeah, like I think that what happened is it didn't originally say opponent's turn, and then they got through like R&D testing, and someone did that, and they were like, no,
It's like,
we can't have this.
Yeah. That's funny as hell.
But rather
Oh,
than fix it by requiring a Magellan leader,
I mean, he definitely, in my eyes, earns his SR slot.
oh
Like,
my
he's
god,
so-
yes.
I know he's worth it. Oh.
Yeah, he's so good. So dumb.
So let's talk Sadie and Mino Koala for a second. Mino Koala is a 4-drop 5k blocker that on death, if your leader is impel down, thank you for requiring an impel down leader. You add one Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it. An on-curve blocker that when it dies gets you a Dawn is actually really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the fact that it is impel down specific because like nothing else is at all. So that was annoying. But regardless, I just like this card. It's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it'll be a main staple in Magellan decks for sure.
See, it's of course it's only going to be a Magellan, because you can
Yes,
only use
of course.
a Magellan.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think if this was like not a Magellan like impel down specific, I don't know.
I would run it
I'm
over
not
Uta.
sure.
No joke.
You think?
Yeah, I would. It's backup ramp, if nothing else. You know how people like put ulti in their deck, which is a terrible card, but if you don't hit Oni, it's a great card. Mino for that exact reason, I'd run Mino Koala over Uta, because
Wow.
Uta, I feel like I use Uta's effect very infrequently.
Me too.
and I would use this effect every game I played it, and it's backup RAM.
That's fair. That's fair. What are your thoughts, Orange?
Yeah, no, he seems fine. Like I said, I do like that he is requirement for impel down.
Yeah.
And I did see that you can play him Biasati, right? So
yeah, so that's the next thing to talk about is Sadie, which is insane. And let me tell you, even worse than Magellan, Sadie should require a freaking impel down leader. Because what we're gonna get now is we're gonna get aggro Kaido decks that run the Jailer Beast package just because they can. Even if the other two Jailer Beasts require an impel down leader, you're just gonna see people go, oh, turn 2, Sadie Jailer Beast. Oh, turn 3,
it's
ulti
free.
page 1, and just shit out cards, and then crit you and you lose. And I think that that's something I'm really scared for moving forward.
It's like super unfortunate because like with Mino Koala, I just said it too, where it's like if this wasn't impel down specific, I don't know if I'd play it in my deck. Sadie just takes that and says, never mind, because you can play the Koala.
Yeah.
Even in Kaido, even if you don't play it for its other effect, it's still like 4-drop 5k blocker for free.
Yeah.
Like even without ignoring the second effect, it makes Koala good because Sadie's good. And it's like, come on. It's so good. And it took a counter on top of it, like, oh,
yeah,
on.
no, he's so strong.
No, I think it's really silly. And the worst part is, see, now I'm sitting here like, oh, if I could run Mino Koala in Kaido instead of Uta, I would, but I don't get the second effect. Now, I think you're on the right track, Anthony. I'm going to run Mino Koala instead of Uta anyway, and then I'm just going to take out fucking like Orochi for Sadie. Yeah. And
easy
just
peasy.
And it's just better.
It's just so much better. And it's like without Sadie in like Kaido decks, I'm not sure if I would play it even with the second effect. But with Sadie being a thing, it's just like, why not?
Yeah, I'm going to play it even without the second effect now, all of a sudden.
Yeah, who cares? Like, you got the option. It's a thing. It's disgusting. It's so good.
I feel like Hell's Judgment is also a card worth bringing up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on Hell's Judgment, Orange?
The trigger is nice. Your opponent has 6 or more Dawn, return 1 or Dawn to her Dawn deck.
Yep.
That's sweet.
Whatchamacallit. So you pay, you rest your 2 Dawn, you rest the 1, so that's an easy requirement, and it's a 3,000 bonus, so
and
it's
it
yet
affects
another
two
purple
things.
event card. Yeah. So it's a really good purple event card.
And
it's again generic.
I've been heavy on the like Love Beam and Blast Breath are the best counters in the game, and Hell's Judgment's right up there with them now. I think this card is absolutely bananas.
Yeah, and see, honestly, I think this card is like one of the single-handed reasons why Buggy says blue and not blue.
Yes, because if Buggy could grab this in blue purple crocodile, if Buggy could be running blue purple crocodile and grab 2 different 2Ks and Hell's Judgment, there's a meta deck. Like that's it.
That's so good.
Oh, that'd be a lot.
Yeah,
that'd be so. Good.
We did it. We won with blue purple crocodile is the meta deck. If you could do that,
thank God we can't. But also I just saying as a like general rule of thumb, I just think Hell's Judgment is just so good.
It's a really good card.
Like getting 2 like against aggro specifically, which is arguably Kaido's worst matchup. It being Zoro, minusing 2 things by 3 is so huge. Like that is so good. And it's not like the deck doesn't have space. The deck definitely has space. Like you can just take out Bago if you really wanted to. Granted, I don't know if that's gonna be the way the decks shape up, but the fact that you can also just run this in Kaido and it's just a staple among all purple decks, it's just like, ugh. Like, it's so sweet.
It's a very strong card.
For sure.
That wraps up purple for us, which allows us to move on to black. So, with black, even beyond set 2, we can also talk about the Marine starter deck. So let me ask you this, Orange, right off the rip. Which leader do you prefer? The Smoker leader or the Sakazuki leader?
Out of the 2, I think it's still Sakazuki because what is don't activate. If I'm reading this correctly, Smoker's effect is kind of similar to the Magellan effect, right? It's only a 1-time plus 1,000.
Yes.
There's a character. Yeah, so it's a very similar premise, whereas you do get the destruction effect from Sakazuki.
Yes.
But on the dual color side, the Garb looks way more promising because he can enable you to make anything 7 cost or lower a 0 cost.
So another big
Right.
thing about Garp while we're here, talking about him briefly, is that a lot of people have been complaining about 7 cost or lower because then you can't hit some of the best cards in the game. If you
Like-
use any other effect first to reduce the cost, then Garp can affect the card. If you tap
Right.
a Marine
Yeah,
for you
because it's a
have on
current,
board
yeah.
and you target an 8-drop kid, Garp's
Yep.
effect will now affect that 8-drop kid.
Mhm.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So-
it's the current stats that count.
It's a moderately annoying limitation, but I think it honestly barely affects the deck at all. I think it's very easy to work around. And it's one of the reasons I think Garp has a lot of potential moving forward.
Yeah, he's gonna be really fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
think
can run a Marineford with him. So
Oh
there you
yeah.
go.
I think my biggest problem with Garp as a leader is that red and black are the only 2 colors that don't mix well to me. Now, Garp's
Yeah.
effect makes them mix well, right? Because you get the cost reduction with the Dawn attach, which makes it all make sense. But if we were to ignore the Garp leader, the colors themselves, blue, green, and purple, all already have effects. All of their effects are specific to cost. And then
Yeah.
red is out here and all of their effects are specific to power. So to get the
Mhm.
red and black pairing is a little odd because of the fact that the colors are the only 2 colors in the game that just kind of oppose each other.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the most fair combination.
Yes,
of,
it's a very
that
fair
you could
color
have had.
combination.
Yeah. Like I don't think it's necessarily bad because you get access to a ton of good stuff.
You get access to a lot of good cards.
But it is the most fair.
I also think
color
that
combination.
everything I just said is only ignoring the Garp leader. I do think the Garp leader does a really good job of tying the 2 concepts together.
I can get behind that.
The other black card that I feel like is really worth mentioning right now is Borsalino.
Oh yeah.
You
That's a
like
fun one.
Borsalino orange?
Yeah, because it's 6,000 on the opponent's turn, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
can be
Six-
killed by effects. That's great.
6K blocker
That's a really
is
strong card.
really annoying to deal with. If you've been playing One Piece at all, you'll know that like Queen is one of the best
Yeah.
blockers in the game, hands down. And it's
Yep.
it's definitely a lot for that draw, sure. But a 6K blocker is just such a primo number. And what happens to
Yeah.
Queen every single game is Jet Pistol, right? Like Brachio Bomber, like every 9-drop Kaido all the time. That's how you get rid of these queens. And Borsalino's a thorn in your side that's just kind of there to stay.
I think when this card got first revealed, I was the most surprised in regards to Borsalino that he has a counter stat because he has so many. Like he's like essentially on curve, right? Because 4 for 5, and then he has blocker, which is always good.
Yeah.
And then it has the +1, so already it's like okay, the fact that it's a counter stat. It's,
See, but if it had
And then-
if it didn't have a counter stat, then being 4 for 5 would be below curve. Cards
Yes,
that
it
don't
would
have a
be
counter
4
stat
for
should be
5,
4 for
yes.
6.
but then it also has the effect can't be KO'd by effects.
That is a
And I'm just
bonkers effect, yeah.
And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, this card
He's
is
really
so
strong.
nuts. Why does it have a
He's
counter
also
stat?
very deserving of the SR slot. All of the SRs that we've seen so far. The SRs we've seen so far are Borsalino, Magellan, Luffy, and the 9-drop Edward Newgate, the
Whitebeard.
9-drop Whitebeard, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all 4 of those cards just feel so very dominant.
We even talked about the Whitebeard character card, right?
No.
Actually, we didn't bring him up.
We did leader to the dawn.
Yeah.
I think this card
We
is
did-
straight
we
up
did-
insane.
Yeah, so yeah, let's talk about Newgate for a second. I want to hear your thoughts, Orange, about the 9-drop Newgate.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
When you first saw it, I was like, "What does this mean?" And like, Jag was like, "Oh, we're gonna get healing, like Digimon," but apparently not for right now, at least. But it's like a palliative way of surviving when you summon him, so you don't lose life. But he's so strong. He's so hard to get over. And then he KOs 3 or less, so that's really good also.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To
Yeah, the fact that
defend
he-
Jag for a moment, I
Yeah.
also said when this card dropped that we were going to get healing, and the reason that we all thought, everyone who was there the moment the card dropped thought we were going to get healing, is when
Yeah.
the English translation first came out, it was mistranslated. And it said, then you cannot add cards to your life or to your hand. And so everyone was like, oh my God, we're adding cards to our life? What is this? And then, like, honestly, I think it was within like a half an hour, it got
Not even.
fixed. So everyone was like, oh, so for a while, even me, I didn't know it got fixed for like a day. And I was like, we're getting healing off of this. I had to make an entirely separate short saying, hey, sorry about the mistranslation. But yeah.
I feel like this card, the fact that it has Robin's effect is just so
It's a really good effect.
It's so good. And then you're giving your leader +2 for like until the end of your next turn.
And on Whitebeard, that makes him an 8k, which is...
Yeah, that makes him an 8k.
You can't even touch him, like...
Yeah, and then it makes your leader 7k in other decks. I think this card is, in fact, like, yeah, that's already good. And then giving it Robin's effect, like, that's so dumb. like it's so disgusting. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. And I'm sure this card will come, like, I'm not 100% because I, of course, can't predict the future. But I would be very surprised if this card wasn't a staple moving forward in red decks in general, not just Whitebeard, just everything.
Oh, yeah.
So good. And it's universally good effects.
I could see
other
that
SRs
completely.
are just universally good. This one's also universally amazing card. So we've hit the red card.
The big thing to talk about now, the only really, because we've missed a few cards that I don't consider all that important along the way.
Right.
But I think the other big card that we should be talking about is the Z leader.
The Z leader. So I think it's so funny because it's like we have this very fair color combination in black and red where, yeah, they don't mesh, but they have access to a lot of cool things. And then there's just black purple.
The exact opposite. Where the thing that everyone was like, if they make this, the game is ruined, and here it is.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Orange. What do you think of Z?
I think he is like aggressively one of the strongest dual types, right? Because he's KO a character and he gets attack bonus. So he's really strong. And like you said earlier, purple and black do combine with each other because their destruction is cost based.
Yep.
So I believe people will play King alongside this and cards that reduce cost and just destroy everything as like low, because I think black is mostly destroys 0 cost, right? But purple destroys like 3, 2, 4 costs and so on. So it's giving him more possibilities on board destruction.
I think something that got pointed out on one of my streams that I really like. At first, I was really mad that this was Z. And I was like, why did they give us a Z leader? I don't care. And I was like, the big advocate I was for saying for the only reason Z is cool is it lets us run Union Armado, which, like, we could do some kind of funky film decks, but even that I wasn't too crazy about, especially now that we have Hell's Judgment. But the big thing that got pointed out to me is the fact that this is Z makes him Neo Navy and not Navy, which means Marineford's tap effect can't be used with him. And that's huge.
So sad, but man, thank God.
Yeah, because I think Marineford would be what really breaks this leader. So making him Z keeps it on flavor without ruining the game.
Yeah, because I feel like if they had Marineford with this card, being able to be like, oh, now my king...
My king's hit queen. Like...
or my turn, whatever, you place down. Yeah, now I can hit queen, now I can hit all these things. So thank God it's not just... It's the Neo Navy and not Navy.
Yeah.
Good call on them. Good call. So yeah, I feel like the One Piece card game in general has a lot... Like, in terms of set 2 impressions, they've had a lot of foresight and... like seeing like, okay, this combination would be too broken, let's make sure it's very specific.
They're flaunting that with Z.
It's like they have all these opportunities to link up things in one another, but they're choosing not to do them because most likely we'll be revisiting these characters down the line in the future, so it's gonna make the game last a lot longer this way too, at least. Like, I don't think this is gonna be the last time we'll see a Jail, Impel Down, Buggy, and Galdino and Bon Clay.
If it makes it long enough, we'll recycle through everything, you know?
Right.
Yeah, like, we might get, like, powered up version of these guys, for example. Who knows?
Right. So, what I want to hear from you guys, I'm just curious, because based on the spoilers we have, if you had to give, just based on the spoilers we have right now, so, again, big disclaimer, there's going to be cards coming out later, all that stuff. But based on what we have currently, if you had to give this set 2 a grade, like A, B, whatever, C, D, F, what grade would you give it? In terms of everything.
Let's start with you, Orange. What would you give it?
From what I've seen, they have taken a very unique direction, I would say, on the characters and the theming that they've done with them. So, like, I would say A, because, hear me out, I think they're not trying to be all cookie cutter with what each archetype does.
Yeah.
They want to be different, and they're doing very different things from each other, which is a lot different to me than the first set. The first set was very safe and got you started with the game, but now we're starting to deviate to more unique gameplay experiences like Ivankov
We're getting a
or
lot more
having a short
exploration.
life with Newgate. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Max. What do you think?
Um,
Give it a grade.
I'm gonna give it a B plus.
Oh God, that's so funny.
And I think the big thing for me is there's so much I like out of this set. It's very tempting for me to just smack an A on it. I love Whitebeard. I love Garp. I love Z. I like Magellan somewhat. The black stuff we've seen so far is really cool. I have a few core problems with the set, though. I really don't like Kinemon as a leader, not because of his effect, just because I don't like the concept of not being able to use the support that already exists in the new Wano decks.
Yep.
The Kinemon character, I personally feel like not a lot of people have given a lot of look to Odin because it's not one of the best decks in the game, and it takes a lot of skill to pilot. So because not a lot of people have given any time to it, and I've given a ton of time to it, I really feel like one of the forerunners to talk about Odin as a deck. And I gotta say, to me, the way I play Odin, the way I've had success with it is through that Kinemon card. Like, I build my entire deck around that Kinemon card, basically. And moving forward, to see the archetype evolve and leave that card, the core, what I would call the core of its existing archetype behind, is very disappointing. I find Ivankov to be relatively disappointing as a card. And I find his support to be relatively disappointing. There's still time for that to turn around, but, based on what I've seen so far, that diminishes the grade for me. And I also really feel like the purple Impel Down cards that should say Magellan Leader don't. And I think that's lowering the grade for me. I really wish both Magellan, at least Sadie, if not Sadie and Magellan both, required an Impel Down Leader. So those three things kind of bring it down from A to A- to B+. Having said that, all of those things, everything I've mentioned so far, with the exception of the Odin Kinemon thing, can be basically fixed by Ivankov and Magellan getting support that make them worth using in the first place. And the mono black leaders I love, the Whitebeard leader I love, and I love all three multicolor leaders. So that's still overall like a very good, like the set overall is very impressive to me. There are just a few minor nitpicks that I have.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely resonate with a lot of things you said. So when you said B+, I thought it was kind of funny because Orange, you said A. I'm actually sitting at A-. Like, I'm right in the middle because I definitely agree with a lot of your points in terms of Kinemon. I'm very kind of iffy on because, like you said, you only get to expand on previous archetype. It's very odd decision to do that. Ivankov, again, has that very, just so far disappointing. A little bit, and again, not having the leader really Magellan resonate with the rest of purple, being specific, except for Mino Koala, is very, very awkward. But then in the same breath, there's so many things I love about this upcoming set so far. Like the Whitebeard leader is so sweet. I really love the Newgate, the 9-drop character card. I think there's such a good direction with that, and then they have such a good direction with Sanji specifically, and how diverse of a deck you can actually make with him, and so many deck ideas come to mind. I think that's so exciting, and their multicolor leaders have so much cool stuff going on, and very different ways to play the deck coming forward. In my opinion, I think the only thing I think the biggest egregious thing I've seen in set 2 so far is I wish we had more black support to make up for the lack of, we don't have that color in set 1.
Yeah.
So I think we should have gotten way more black cards to make up for that the no black in set 1. I think they didn't give it enough.
I think we might get another starter deck too, like how we got the film starter deck in the middle.
Yeah.
Because we got we already got the black starter deck. I wouldn't be surprised to see another black starter deck on the horizon.
Yeah, for sure. But but the thing is that brings me to the A- instead of the B+, because I agree with almost everything. And besides the fact that there's so much innovation and creativity that can come with these new leaders and cards, I think the foresight to have Buggy be the only blue, or some of the foresight in some of those cards, not all of them, because I know again purple's kind of not doing that, but having some of that foresight in some of their cards, I'm just like, okay,
Buggy
well, thank God you
and
thought of it.
Buggy and Z are both really good
Yes.
advocates
Yes,
for that.
Buggy and Z, exactly, are both such good. Like, they thought about this card and its impact potentially, and it shows. And having that limit on it, I think, in card design and game design, gives it that slight. It's like I appreciate it. It's like, okay, you're not just blindly throwing out cards to throw to the wind. Like,
Yeah.
Not like Dragon Ball did very early games, like Mecha Frieza was. Like,
Aves, Mecha Aves. All right, well, we
Oh,
are getting to the end of our time here, so there will be links to all of Orange Samurai's content platforms in the description. Thank you for coming on today, Orange. It really means a lot.
No, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate this opportunity. I had a great time.
Oh, absolutely.
And we definitely loved having you on, and we had a great time today with all of you guys. And if you're viewing this, we appreciate you taking your time to, reach out to us and looking at everything.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Today's video was sponsored by OPTCG. This is an awesome website where not only can you buy singles for some of your favorite trading card games, but it acts as a hub for various content creators so you can stay up to date in those games. This is their homepage. As you can see, they currently carry Flesh and Blood, Digimon, Transformers, and Star Wars Destiny. They are going to be carrying One Piece in the winter when its official American release comes out. If you go over to Game Videos and Podcasts, you can see some of your favorite content creators, including your favorite One Piece content creators, for all of these various games so that you can stay up to date on what is good right now. It's all very easy to use, and the guy is great. And if you use your promo code TheMoonMen, not case sensitive at all, you'll get 10% off any order you place. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. I certainly hope you did. You can find links to my Twitch and my Patreon in the description, as well as the promo code and the links to Top Deck TCG. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.